Welcome to Sir Afri YouTube channel where we talk about everything and nothing. Ever pondered about where money comes from? It's not just about minting coins and printing notes. In fact, money creation is a complex, fascinating process involving a myriad of players, from central banks to your neighborhood commercial bank. Here's a teaser for you. Money isn't just physical, it's also digital. And the amount that exists is not just the sum total of all the cash and coins in circulation. Have you ever wondered how banks can afford to lend out so much money? Stick around to find out. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. The journey of money creation begins at a place you might not expect: the central bank. Now, you might be thinking of a massive vault filled with gold bars and cash, but the reality is far more complex and, dare I say, fascinating. The central bank, the big boss of the money world, holds the reins of monetary policy, a sort of financial wizardry that involves controlling the supply of money in an economy. But how exactly does a central bank control the money supply, you ask? Well, it's not by conjuring coins out of thin air, though that would certainly add a touch of drama. In reality, central banks use something called open market operations. This involves buying and selling government bonds in the open market. When the central bank buys these bonds, it pays for them by crediting the bank accounts of the sellers. This increases the amount of money in the economy. Conversely, when the central bank sells these bonds, the buyers pay for them, effectively taking that money out of the economy. So, you see, the central bank has the power to increase or decrease the amount of money flowing in the economy, like a DJ adjusting the volume on a track. This process is crucial in managing inflation, promoting stable economic growth, and keeping the financial system stable. It's also worth noting that the money created by the central bank is referred to as base money, or high-powered money. This forms the foundation upon which the rest of the money supply is built. It's kind of like the dough in a pizza, without which you wouldn't have a pizza, just a pile of cheese and toppings. So the central bank plays a crucial role in money creation, but it's not the only player. Next up, commercial banks. Stay tuned to find out how these institutions add the sauce and toppings to our money pizza. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Commercial banks, they're not just safe houses for your money, they're money-making machines too. Let's delve into the fascinating world of commercial banks and their role in money creation. Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't that the central bank's job? While it's true that central banks do play a crucial role in money supply, commercial banks have their own part to play, and it's a big one. Here's how it works. When you deposit money into a bank, it doesn't just sit in a vault gathering dust. Oh no, that money gets busy. This is all thanks to something called the fractional reserve banking system. This system allows banks to hold only a fraction of your deposit in reserve and lend out the rest. So if you deposit $100, the bank might keep $10 in reserve and lend out the other $90 to someone else. Now here's where the magic happens. The person who borrows those $90 might use it to pay for something like a new bike. The person who sells the bike then deposits that $90 into their bank. This bank, in turn, keeps a fraction in reserve and lends out the rest. This process continues, with each deposit leading to a new loan, and each loan leading to a new deposit. Over time, this can significantly increase the total amount of money in the economy. This might sound like financial hocus pocus, but it's actually a fundamental part of how our modern banking system works. It's how banks create money, not by printing new notes or minting new coins, but by expanding the amount of digital money through the lending process. And this is why commercial banks are more than just vaults. They're dynamic, active participants in our economy, helping to steer the flow of money and influence economic growth. So next time you check your bank balance, remember this. The money in your account, it's not just sitting there. It's working, multiplying, creating more money. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Ever seen a magician pull a rabbit out of a hat? That's nothing compared to the magic banks perform. Welcome to the world of financial wizardry, where banks don't just store your money, they multiply it. This phenomenon is known as the multiplier effect. But how does it work? Well, let's imagine you deposit $100 into your bank account. The bank doesn't just keep that money sitting idle, instead it lends a part of it out. Let's say the bank loans $70 to someone who wants to start a small business. That person spends the $70 on supplies from another business. Now, the owner of that business has an extra $70, which they then deposit into their bank. The bank then takes a portion of that deposit and lends it out again. This process repeats over and over, and with each loan and deposit, more money is effectively created. You might be wondering, isn't this just moving money around? Well, yes and no. While the original amount of money hasn't technically increased, the overall money supply in the economy has. Each loan becomes a new deposit, which can then be loaned out again. This is the multiplier effect in action. It's a bit like a magic trick, isn't it? Your $100 doesn't just stay $100. Instead, it multiplies and grows, stimulating the economy and fueling growth. But remember, this isn't free money. Each loan needs to be paid back with interest, and that's where the bank makes its profit. This magical process of money multiplication isn't just about banks making money. It's about how our economy functions, how businesses grow, and how wealth is created. It's a fundamental part of our financial system. So the next time you deposit money into your bank account, remember, you're part of a magical money multiplication process. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So we've seen how money is created, but why does it matter? Let's break it down. When money is created, it doesn't just appear out of thin air. It enters the economy and starts to have an effect. The most immediate impact is on economic growth. When there's more money in circulation, people spend more. Businesses thrive, jobs are created, and the economy as a whole starts to grow. Sounds great, right? Well, it is, but like any good thing, too much of it can cause problems. This is where inflation comes in. Inflation is when the general level of prices for goods and services rises. How does this happen? Well, when there's too much money chasing too few goods, prices start to rise. Imagine you're at an auction with a pocket full of cash. You're more likely to bid higher for that antique lamp, right? The same happens in an economy. When people have more money, they're willing to pay more for goods and services, driving prices up. But inflation isn't always a bad thing. A little inflation can actually be good for the economy. It encourages spending and investment, which helps keep the economy growing. The trick is to keep inflation at just the right level, not too high and not too low. Now let's talk about the potential risks and benefits of money creation. The obvious benefit is economic growth. More money means more spending, more jobs, and a thriving economy. But unchecked money creation can lead to hyperinflation. That's when prices rise so fast that the value of money plummets. It's like trying to climb a sand dune. The more you climb, the more it slips away. In the end, money creation is a delicate balancing act. Central banks have to carefully manage the money supply to fuel growth without causing runaway inflation. It's a bit like walking a tightrope. Lean too far one way or the other and you could end up in a mess. Money creation is a double-edged sword. It can fuel economic growth, but unchecked, it can also lead to inflation. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So the next time you look at a banknote or check your bank balance, you'll know there's more than meets the eye. Let's take a quick stroll down memory lane and revisit the concepts we've explored today. We started off by understanding the pivotal role of central banks. These institutions are not just the financial backbone of a country, but also the birthplace of new money, giving life to those crisp banknotes we all adore. Moving on, we delved into the world of commercial banks and how they are more than just fancy vaults. Through the process of fractional reserve banking, they have the power to create money by extending loans, which, by the way, is not as magical as it sounds. Speaking of magic, we also uncovered the multiplier effect, a phenomenon that allows money to multiply within the banking system. It's like a rabbit pulling itself out of a hat. Interesting, isn't it? Finally, we explored the impact of money creation, which, like a double-edged sword, can both stimulate economic growth and trigger inflation. It's a delicate balancing act that requires careful management. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of money creation. Remember, money isn't just made at the mint, it's made every day in banks across the globe. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we will bring you more videos where we talk about everything and nothing.